Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a full face of new drugstore makeup. I did place an order on the E.L.F website recently, so it is going to be mostly E.L.F makeup, but I did pick up a few things from Essence as well. I have been testing a lot of this stuff off camera for the past few days, so I do have my thoughts on most of these products, but I'm still not quite sure about some of them. There are a couple of misses for me so far, so I wanted to show you how those apply and see if I can make them work. But before we get into it, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. And let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and reapply the lip balm that I got. This is from the Good Vibes Only collection, which I did pick up the entire collection. I don't know if I mentioned that in the intro, but this is the Shroom lip balm. It's a pretty good lip balm. I wouldn't say it's anything special. I don't think I would repurchase this once I run out, and plus it is limited edition, so I don't even know if I'd be able to do that. It has a really light, like citrusy scent, so nothing overpowering. They did have a 3-piece eyeshadow brush set as well, and these are really good brushes. I always really enjoy brushes from E.L.F, but I wouldn't say that these are necessary for my brush collection. I do already have a few other ones either identical or similar to these, especially this one. I already have 2 other ones from E.L.F. I think this is the crease brush. So these are pretty much identical. If you already have a crease brush from E.L.F, you don't need the one from this collection. And then you also get a medium shader brush and an eyeliner brush, which I don't use these kinds of brushes often, but E.L.F brushes are really good in general, so I have been enjoying these. So there are 2 bite-sized eyeshadow palettes in this collection. This one is called Hey Sunshine. I don't love yellow eyeshadow on me, but I did want to try something different. And since I really like this formula, I figured why not try it? And then this one is called Psychedelic Dreams. I thought this was a really pretty color story. Definitely outside of my comfort zone, but we'll see what kind of look I do with it today. I'm going to apply the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer, which I've really been enjoying lately. I actually got this for free with an Ulta order a couple of months back, and I have been loving this eyeshadow primer. It's mattifying, but it's not drying on my lids, which I do tend to struggle with more mattifying eyeshadow primers. They usually make my lids look really dry and like flaky, but this one doesn't do that. I really like how smoothing it is as well. It's ever so slightly tinted, so it does a really good job at evening out my eyelids. And yeah, it makes my eyeshadows last all day long. So this has been like a recent favorite of mine. So I'm first going to dip into the matte yellow shade from the Hey Sunshine palette. I actually like that it's a little bit mustardy. I do like shades like that. So I'm going to go ahead and blend that into the crease. But these blend really well. I haven't had any issues with any of the mattes so far, even the deepest like teal shade. But look at how easily that built up, and it wasn't hard to blend at all. I'm going to dip into this deeper mustard brown shade from the Psychedelic Dreams palette, and I'm going to focus that more on the outer corners while also blending it into the crease. I think I actually mentioned in my eyeshadow palette declutter that I'm not a fan of yellow eyeshadow, and here I am doing a yellowy eyeshadow look, but I wanted to try something outside of my comfort zone. I never do looks like this. Okay, so I built that up a little bit, and now I'm gonna go into this shade from the Hey Sunshine palette. So I'm just gonna take the same brush actually and go right over top of that previous shade. I don't know that I'll use the deeper teal shade today. I don't know that it would go with this look, but I guess I'll see. Yeah, these blend so easily. I really haven't had any issues with these. I love this bite-sized eyeshadow formula. And then I'm gonna take my fluffy blending brush and just sort of buff over everything. I like my eyeshadow look super like blown out. It's not for everyone, but I just like doing my eyeshadow like this. I'm going to take a tiny bit of this deeper matte brown shade from the Hey Sunshine palette and applying that right onto the outer corners. Yeah, that is very pigmented. I only dipped into the shade once. So I was debating whether to put some of that green shimmery shade onto the lids, but I feel like it's gonna clash with this look. I don't know, maybe I should do maybe this one all over the lids. Let me try that. So I'm applying that gold shade onto the lids. Ooh, that looks really pretty actually. I think I'm gonna save the green shade for a different look. I'm not feeling that adventurous today. This is enough for me. I just realized that I didn't use any of the eyeshadow brushes that came with this collection. Like, it completely slipped my mind. So I'm just gonna take this crease brush and I guess like diffuse the edges. I actually have these sitting right in front of me and I still completely forgot to use them. I don't know what's up with me today. And I'm gonna take the liner brush and I guess line my eyes with the deepest matte brown shade. This brush would actually be good for liquid liner. I just don't do liquid liner, but it's working really nicely with this matte shade. And you know what? I'm gonna reapply some of that lid shade with the shader brush. I feel like it faded a little bit, so just reapplying that. Okay, moving on to complexion. I do have a couple of primers to try. So this one is the Soft Velvet Primer, and I've tried this one a few times now, and so far I've really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's the most pore blurring primer that I've ever tried, but it does do a really good job at smoothing out your skin. It gives a really pretty like velvet finish to the skin. I tried this, I think, with the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Foundation, which is super luminous, and I did like the way that this looked with it. And then the other day I tried it with the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I feel like it made this foundation look a little bit heavier than usual. I think that's just because of how mattifying it is. So yeah, I did like it with both of those foundations, but definitely not my favorite primer so far. And then I also picked up the Power Grip Primer plus 4% Niacinamide. I tried it the other day and so far I really liked it. I felt like it made my makeup look more natural and just like more hydrated overall. I don't really know how to explain it, but I felt like my makeup looked really good, so I do want to try it again. I have heard that this one is really similar to the regular Power Grip Primer, so I don't know, maybe I'll have to try that one in the future. But I'm gonna do the Soft Velvet Primer on the right side of my face and then the Power Grip Primer on the left. So I'm focusing this one on my T-zone. I don't want to apply it everywhere. I feel like that's when it starts making my makeup look too heavy, so just focusing it on the center of my face. And it's kind of tricky to do just one half of my face, but I'll try my best. It does say to let it sit for at least 30 seconds, so I'm gonna do that while I apply the Power Grip Primer. And then this one, I thought it was gonna be a lot tackier. I was expecting it to feel super tacky, but I didn't experience that the last time that I tried it. I wouldn't say that it does much for my pores, at least not as much as the Soft Velvet Primer. This side definitely looks more mattified, and then this side looks more hydrated and like plump almost. I did pick up the new E.L.F color camo correctors in peach and green. So I'm gonna use the green one first. I do have quite a bit of redness. This is pretty pigmented, but I wouldn't say it's like full coverage. I feel like this is more medium coverage. So I'm just blending that out with my E.L.F sponge. This definitely tones down the redness on my cheeks, and even though it does leave like a little bit of a green cast wherever I applied it, I feel like it's not too much to where my foundation won't cover it. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now, and then let's do the other side. Yeah, it's not super, super pigmented, so I'm not scared to apply it directly onto my skin. Once again, I do prefer the side with the Power Grip Primer. The corrector even blended better on this side. It did take a little bit longer to blend out on the Soft Velvet Primer side. Let's go ahead and apply the Peach Corrector now. I would say it does have medium coverage, just like the Green Corrector. And when I use this, I feel like I didn't need to use as much concealer over top of it because it did do a good job at correcting some of the darkness underneath my eyes. So yeah, I really like these correctors so far. I feel like they blend really easily. They have a good amount of coverage, and I really like the natural finish. I'm going to apply the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I'm actually going to mix two shades. I have 2-3 Light and 4-5 Fair. Neither of these match me perfectly, so I do have to mix them. All right, let's see how I did with the shade mixing. Sometimes it doesn't turn out great, and then sometimes it matches me perfectly, but okay, not bad so far. I'm gonna blend that out with my E.L.F sponge. I'm just loving that Power Grip Primer, but let's apply some to this side. I did have to mix more foundation, so hopefully it matches. Yeah, I just feel like this side doesn't apply as easily. And really the only difference is the Soft Velvet Primer. So yeah, I don't think I like it as much as I thought I did. Yeah, it does look a little bit heavier, and I'm seeing more texture on my cheek. This side just looks like smoother. I don't have a new concealer to try, so I figured I would just use a favorite. I'm going to use the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum, and this is going to be more of a brightening shade for me. I'm going to apply this with my fingers, and then I'll blend it out with a sponge. But this is such a good concealer. It has, I would say, medium coverage and like a really pretty, natural, healthy finish. But this concealer covered up the Peach Corrector really nicely. I don't feel like I need to use a ton of it to cover it up. And then to set my under eyes, I'm going to take this E.L.F Prime and Stay Finishing Powder, which is new to me. I know this has been around for a while, but I've really been enjoying it for my under eyes. But I think the key with this powder is to use less. The first time I tried it, I thought it looked really heavy, but I did use a denser brush. So I've been liking applying this with the Real Techniques setting brush. This one I use mainly for powder highlighter, but I've really been liking it with my under eye powder. I don't know why I never used it for that, even though I think it's technically meant for that. So I'm finally using it the way that it was meant to be used. So I'm just gonna lightly set only underneath my eyes. I do have some cream products to use, so I'm gonna avoid this area. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply my cream bronzer now, which so far has been a fail. This is the E.L.F Luminous Putty Bronzer, and I got mine in the shade Day Trip, which is a really nice neutral bronzer shade. I just don't like this formula so far. I feel like it goes on really patchy, and I have to use quite a bit of this for it to show up nicely on my skin. I'm not gonna build it up as much as I did the other times that I've tried this, because I feel like if you build it up too much, it starts to look even patchier. I guess this is meant to be more of a natural bronzer, and I do like the luminous sort of sheen that it gives. As much as I want to build it up a little bit, I am going to keep it like this because I know it's going to start looking patchy. So let's apply it on this side. Yeah, this shade pulls a little bit cool toned on me. It's neutral, but it leans ever so slightly cool toned, which works for me for sort of sculpting out the face. Yeah, I think less is more with this bronzer. Okay, it definitely looks a lot better than the first couple of times that I tried it. Like, I'm not hating it right now. I really didn't like it when I first tried it, so this is a huge improvement. So let's go ahead and try the Luminous Putty blushes, which these were definitely patchy, and I just could not get them to look right. I picked up the shades Isla del Sol, which is a really bright corally orange shade. That's like the best way that I can describe this. It kind of reminds me of Picante from Nude Sticks, and then Bermuda, which is a pinky shade. And then finally Barbados. This is the deepest one out of the three. This one I would say is like a rusty terracotta shade. So I'm trying to see which one would look the best with this look. Maybe this one actually. Bermuda is definitely too pinky for this look. And Isla del Sol. Maybe I'll apply this one and Barbados. So let's go in with Barbados first. I did clean off the E.L.F. Complexion Duo Brush. These don't go on as intense as they look in the pan, which is a good thing, especially for the brighter and deeper shades. It went on a lot better than the other times that I tried it. I don't know if I was just having like a really bad makeup day that day, or like the past couple of times that I played with some of these products, because everything is applying better today. So I'm kind of putting this one more towards the back, and then I'll put the brighter shade like more towards the center. Okay, it does look a little bit patchy right here. Nothing crazy though. I feel like I can kind of make it work. And then let's apply Isla del Sol right over top. I'm not applying too much because I do have some powder blushes to apply over top of this. So I'm gonna be super blushy today. They do have a really pretty luminous finish. So yeah, they do look better now. I'm glad that I gave them another try, but I'll just have to keep playing with them, see how I feel about them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows off camera, and then I'm also gonna set my face with the Wet n Wild Photofocus Translucent Setting Powder. I was going to apply this Milani Conceal and Perfect liquid highlighter before I set my entire face with powder, but I forgot to do that. So I'm kind of tempted to apply it still. I don't know how that might end up looking, but let's go ahead and try it. Why not? This is in the shade 01 Lunar, by the way. It's like a gold champagne shade. Okay, I'm not applying too much, and I'm trying to work quickly. Okay, not bad, but I do prefer the way that this looks underneath powder. Since I have tried it that way, I do remember liking the way that it looked. It looked a little bit more seamless on the skin, but not as bad as I thought it would look. But let's go ahead and do the other side. A little bit down the bridge of the nose and the Cupid's bow. All right, let's finish up the lower lash line. So I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm gonna go in with this matte brown shade from the Haze Sunshine palette and just run that along the lower lash line. I'm also gonna take this one from the Psychedelic Dreams palette. So I'm just gonna apply that right over top. And then taking this matte yellow mustard shade, I'm just gonna use that to buff out the lower lash line. I'm also going to take some of that yellow shimmery shade and apply it more towards the inner portion of the lower lash line. And then just taking a tiny, tiny bit of that deep brown matte shade. And I'm going to focus that right on the outer portion. And then finally for the inner corners, I'm going to apply this light shimmery shade. I do have the new E.L.F. Lash and Roll Mascara, but I'm going to apply this after I apply my setting spray. But first I'm gonna go in with the Essence Pure Nude blushes, or maybe just one shade. I don't think both of them are gonna match this look. But I did pick up the shades Goldy Cassis, which is a purpley pinky shade, and Pretty Peach, which is a peachy shade. But I love the finish of these blushes. They're super luminous. I would say Goldy Cassis is my favorite so far. It doesn't look as purple on the cheeks as it looks in the pan. I would say on the cheeks it pulls more pinky mauve, but in the pan it definitely looks like a purple blush shade. So let me go ahead and apply Pretty Peach, and trying not to apply too much. since I have on the Luminous Putty blushes. But these blend so nicely on the cheeks, and they're nice and buildable as well. The more you apply, the glowier they look. So if you don't want anything too intense, just go in with a light hand. And I think they have some other ones that aren't luminous. I think they lean more like satin, so I definitely have to pick up some other shades in the future, but I'm really happy with these so far. I did pick up this E.L.F. Game Up Shield Me Setting Spray, which is supposed to be like blue light absorbing. I don't know that it does that, but I did really like the way that this set my makeup the other day. It toned down the look of powder, and I feel like it made my makeup last longer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this. You do have to shake it up really well. And it has a really light, fresh scent. I like the mister as well, so far so good with this. Okay, time for some lip products. I did pick up 2 of the new Essence 8-Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liners. So I picked up the shades Cinnamon Spice, and this one is like a brown nude shade. And then I also got Silky Hazelnut, which is more of a pinky neutral shade. So I think for this look, I'm gonna go in with Cinnamon Spice. But these are really nice. I do like that they're retractable, so I don't have to worry about sharpening them. And they do have a matte finish. I feel like a matte finish lasts longer than a satin finish. These are nice and creamy, but they do have a little bit of tug to them, which I do prefer with lip liners. I just feel like they apply better that way. So that is Cinnamon Spice applied pretty much all over the lips. I would say it leans a little bit more like peachy brown nude. And then I'm going to apply the E.L.F. O Face Satin Lipstick in the shade Drive. I have worn this one with this lip liner before, and I feel like they pair really nicely. This lipstick does lean a little bit more rosy, I would say. It's not like a true brown nude shade, but I love rosy brown lipsticks, so I feel like this is perfect for me. But I'm going to go ahead and apply the Lash and Roll Mascara. I have worn this a few times, and I haven't noticed any smudging or flaking. It does give a really good amount of length, but maybe not the most volume. I would prefer something a little bit more volumizing, but it's still a nice mascara. It can get a little bit clumpy if I'm not careful, so I wouldn't apply maybe more than like 2 coats of this mascara. So this is what it looks like with 1 coat. I'm gonna do 1 more, but I feel like if I wanted to do a more natural look, I could leave it like this and be happy with it. But let me go ahead and do 1 more coat off camera. So this is 2 coats of mascara, and I did apply it to my lower lashes as well. I don't like this for my lower lashes. I feel like it gets really clumpy and messy, so definitely not my favorite for that. But I'm gonna go ahead and gather my thoughts, and I'll come back to let you know how I feel about everything. So I will be right back. All right, so the Good Vibes Only Bite Size Eyeshadow Palettes. I think if you like the Bite Size Eyeshadow Palette formula, you're probably gonna like these. I think it's just a matter of whether you like these shades. The mattes are definitely my favorite, and I would say the shimmers are just okay. I feel like they fade a little too quickly for me, so overall, I think these palettes are nice, but I wouldn't say you need to go out and buy them. And then same with the eyeshadow brushes. I don't think you'll be disappointed in the quality of these brushes, but I also don't think you need them unless you're looking for brushes that are shaped specifically like this. Then I think you would enjoy them. But for my brush collection, these don't add anything special. The Soft Velvet Primer, this one I think does give a little bit of a velvety look to the skin. It does a little bit of mattifying and pore blurring. I just feel like it makes my foundation look a little bit heavier than usual. So far, I do prefer the Power Grip Primer with Niacinamide. I feel like it makes my skin look really healthy, and my foundation went over top of it really nicely. So if I had to pick one, I would definitely pick the Power Grip Primer with Niacinamide, but I do like the Soft Velvet one. I have to keep trying it a little bit more. I really like these E.L.F. Camo color correctors so far, especially the green one, which I didn't think that I was gonna like this one as much as I do, but I love the way that this toned down the redness on my cheeks and around my nose as well. I like the peach one as well because it does correct the darkness underneath my eyes, so I ended up needing less concealer than usual. The Luminous Putty Bronzer, I'm still on the fence about this one, and same with the Luminous Putty blushes. I honestly am kind of in between right now. Like, I don't love them, but I don't hate them either. They did work for me a lot better this time that I tried them than the first couple of times that I played with them. The formula is just a little too finicky for me, so I don't like that these only work for me sometimes. I have to be really careful with them or else they do look patchy. So they're really pretty shades, but I don't know. I have other cream blushes in my collection that I prefer over these. The E.L.F. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder. I love this one for setting underneath my eyes, but I haven't tried it on the rest of my face. I don't know how it would look for the rest of my face because it is a little bit of a lighter powder. I wouldn't say this is completely translucent. I'm really loving these Essence Pure Nude blushes. I would say if you build them up too much, they can look a little too luminous, but I really like the finish. I feel like if you go in with a lighter hand, they do look really pretty on the skin. So I love both of these shades as well. The Essence 8-Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liners. I'm really liking these so far, and I like that these have a matte finish, but I do have to keep trying them with some other lip products, so I'll get back to you on how I feel about these, but so far I like them. The E.L.F. O-Face Satin Lipstick in the shade Drive. I do want to try a couple more. I just didn't like some of the other ones from the initial launch, but I think they did release a few more after that, so I'm gonna have to look into that and see if I pick up a couple more shades to try. But I really like this one so far. It paired really nicely with this lip liner. It's really comfortable as well, so I'm gonna have to try some other shades. The packaging is really nice as well. I forgot to mention that, but it is magnetic and it has this really nice like soft touch packaging. The Milani Conceal and Perfect Liquid Highlighter. Surprisingly, this went on really nicely over top of powder, so I like that about it, but I do prefer the way that this looks underneath powder, and it's not my favorite liquid highlighter formula, but I do enjoy it. And then finally, the E.L.F. Lash and Roll Mascara. I think it's a little bit too clumpy for me, even though it does look fine right now. I feel like if I add too many coats, it starts to look really clumpy and messy. And I especially don't like this for my bottom lashes. It really gets messy. So yeah, not my favorite mascara, but it's not a fail either. It is one of the better mascaras from E.L.F. that I've tried. But that is pretty much everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you've tried any of the products that I talked about today. I would love to know your thoughts. But other than that, I will see you in my next one. Bye.